Hello and good morning. I would first like to start by acknowledging, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. I would like to extend that respect to the Aboriginal people present today. We are proud to be hosting this webinar, Introduction to Online Selling, as part of the 2020 New South Wales Small Business Festival in partnership with the New South Wales government. So let me get started. We've got quite a lot of items to cover. The hashtag, in case any one of you are, using the social media, etc., please do use hashtag OnlineBiz. That's ONLINEBIZ. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box, and I will try to get them at the end. I'm going to start by running a poll, and I would like to just get a feel of the audience. So I'm enabling poll right now. And the first question you should see is, do you have a business website? All of the questions are just simple yes and no questions. So if you could just spend 30 seconds responding to them, that will be great. I'll just give you guys a moment to finish the poll off. There are about 6 questions in the poll. A few more. If we can have a few more attendees just finalize the poll, that will be fantastic. It just gives us a good understanding of, what the audience is like in here. And also, I will share this poll with you pretty much straight away. And let's, I'm going to end the poll now. It's been about a minute, so that should have given you guys enough time to respond to it. And here are the results. So what we can see is how many people actually have a business website. So it's a 50-50 roughly. So 50% have a website, 50% don't. How many people are actually getting any leads or sales? Again, sort of 50-50. Social media, on the other hand, everyone seems to have a social media account and are using them to promote the business. So about 90% of it. That's fantastic. Do you use email marketing to promote your business or stay in touch? As we can see, again, it's like a 50-50 in terms of the people who are using email marketing to promote their business. Same thing for videos, very 50-50, I guess, a lot of these things. Influencer marketing, it's exactly like I suspected. Most of you are not using influencers to promote your business. I would have expected the same as well. All right, I'm going to stop sharing the poll. And we are going to move on to the next part, which is the agenda. So basically, as was stated on the website, I will be covering a lot of things. So just remember, this is a very basic presentation. It is not advanced stuff. It is more for people who have not understood the total value of the digital marketing ecosystem. There's a whole heap to be covered. So I'm going to cover websites, the domain names, the importance of hosting, performance, things you need to look for in a website, moving on to a little bit of the various social media channels available, SEO, Google Ads, so part of the Google marketing ecosystem, a little bit about email marketing, a little bit about influencer marketing, and I'm going to pepper in a couple of success stories because I really want people to see the power of using digital and people who have done this and businesses who have done it very successfully. It just gives us lot of inspiration. Um, and and guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to type those into the Q&A box, and I will get to them in the end. Hopefully, I should keep about 5 to 10 minutes right at the end to answer any of those questions that are there. So let me just get in and very quick introduction about myself. My name is Sid Lal, and I work with Bruce Clay Australia. I've been working with the Bruce Clay part of the business for the last 10 years. And Bruce Clay has been in search digital marketing since 1996 with a specialization in SEO, Google Ads, etc. They've got offices in multiple countries, which is fine. And a little bit more about myself. What I think I do, Matrix. And if you ever need to reach me, it's Twitter, Sid Lal. I'm also available on LinkedIn. I have my personal blog at oneclickcustomers.com, which I update off and on. And I started in the internet side of the business in the late 90s, early 2000s, after I'd finished university and all. And I got into telecommunications marketing. I set up my first website, didn't go really well. After that, I set up a second website, which I used my understanding of the failings in the first one to take it forward. And we did pretty well after that. Up here, you're seeing, so the website I used to run back then was called bestphonedeals.com.au. And this is a screenshot from, mid 2000s. And as you can see, the Google page is very, very different to what you can see today. And I was running Google Ads as well. And I was running organic SEO, etc., to promote the business, email marketing, all of those kind of things. And I went on to help various phone companies sell over $15 million worth of products. Moving a little bit into our current situation, which is living in a COVID economy. And as per this McKinsey survey, 75% of people are using digital channels for the first time, and they will continue using them. There has been a massive increase in e-commerce. While this one talks about Italy, but even if you see the news in Australia, the courier companies have had a massive increase in deliveries, etc. Zooms, which is the platform, by the way, webinar platform I'm also using today, they've had a massive, massive growth in their daily users from 10 million to 200 million. That's incredible. Netflix have added 16 million subscribers in 5 months. I'm not surprised. People are sitting at home, and a lot of them are wanting to do something. And similarly, Disney has doubled its subscriber base to about 50 million. Now, the COVID economy is certainly defining the new normal, and that normal is where screen time is at an all-time high. And the businesses that are going to survive are those who are able to pivot to meet the needs of their customers. And marketing strategies need to adapt to this new normal. Businesses such as yours need to set up a digital presence if you don't have one. And if you have one and you've not used it as effectively, then let's explore all the channels that are available to us and start using them. Some quick facts about online sales in Australia. So while the retail market is about $275 billion, online makes up about 10%, which is about 27 billion. And I suspect that's going to change very quickly. Time of the day, very insightful. We know, as we can see in this particular survey, which is done by Australia Post, and it shows that 32% of purchases are made during evening time. That's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. So that's your peak hour, folks. So, if you're involved in e-commerce, that's certainly going to help you guys out. Today, we also know that purchases are made on multiple screens. You might start doing some research on your mobile phone, which is your smallest screen out there. you're waiting at the dentist, or you're out and about and you're waiting for something or someone, and you start using your mobile to do some research, and then you come back home or your office and you get onto your laptop and desktop. And as you can see, about 70% roughly of purchases are made on the laptop or the desktop. In terms of the various categories, again, if you look at it, health and beauty is the #1 category with about 30% of all purchases. So all this data is available from Australia Post's online shopping trends research report. Getting into the various digital marketing channels, as we can see, there is Google Ads, there is Facebook marketing, Instagram, email marketing, content, webinar, such as what we are doing right now, influencer marketing, social, videos, which could be YouTube, Vimeo, etc., your website. So we've got quite a bit to cover and do it very, very rapidly. What I also want to make sure is we do want to, as businesses, ensure that we are exploring all marketing channels. You will find some that work for you. If you're a B2B business, as an example, LinkedIn is a really great strategy to be using, a social media channel to be using. Or if you have products which are very photo-centric, then channels like Instagram are fantastic. Videos are another great way. And in fact, YouTube out there is one of the leaders of the pack in terms of channels that we want to explore. And I'll talk a little bit about more on pretty much all of them as part of this webinar. Now, this has got to be my favorite slide in the entire deck because it talks about how your website is your 24/7 sales superstar. Your website, it's always on. You can use it in terms of providing information to your customers. You can use it to reach a global audience. It's your digital shopfront, and it doesn't sleep ever. Right? What you want to do is you want to drive traffic to this website of yours, and you can use a whole plethora of channels. You can use Google marketing, you can use social media, which is Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. You can also use video marketing such as YouTube, Vimeo, all of those things, and drive traffic to your website. And then your website's role, if you've designed a good website and it has all the proper cues, call to actions, etc., the idea is to convert those people who have come to your website into sales. And that sale could mean different things for different people. It could mean that, hey, all you're interested in is collecting customer currency. And customer currency here can mean actual cash, which is you actually do a sale, or it could mean customer currency in the form of emails. So you're just collecting emails from customers. And the idea is once you have that information, you can set up an email marketing funnel to convert these customers over a period of time or make them subscribers to your blog. So your website is pretty much your sales superstar, and it's central to your strategy. So just to get some basics right, domain name. This is going to be very, very important for your website. And the domain name is, if you see on the slide, it's your brand name in the center. That's the domain that we're talking about. So www.yourdomain.com.au. Now remember, the .com or .au could also be just a .com, right? It could be a .org. Now .org is more popular for more philanthropic and social causes type of businesses. .com.au I really like because it tells a person that the website is in Australia and nowhere else. .com, it's for more global businesses. So if your target audience was global, I would go with a .com, because then someone who's viewing your website in the United States, if they see a .com.au, they might not just click on your site, or they might not place an order because the perception is, hey, it's a different country. So the other things is make sure you keep your domain name short and sweet. So remember the KISS principle, keep it short and sweet. You don't want really long names, because remember, people have to type this into the web, and you don't want them making mistakes. So keep it as short as possible. In terms of where you can purchase a domain name, I highly recommend GoDaddy. I've used them for 15 years. And disclosure, I don't have anything to do with GoDaddy, but I really recommend them. Even HostGator. Then there's other companies locally, such as Melbourne IT, etc. There's a whole heap of them. If you type them into the internet, you can just purchase, and they're cheap as chips. Like $20 a year would get you a domain name. And remember, you must always put a schedule in your calendar, a reminder for yourself that you need to renew your domain name. And trust me, it's happened to me. I purchased a domain, and in fact, that earlier website I talked to you about, bestphonedeals.com.au, I had that website for about, I don't know, 15 odd years. And at some point, after I had renewed it for a really long period, I forgot to renew it. And in the meantime, a lot of things happened, and I switched into email providers and stuff like that. And the email from GoDaddy to remind me of my domain expiring went to my old email address, which was not checked by me, as I was not really looking into it. And guess what? I actually lost that domain. So guys, please be very, very careful about it. Types of websites. There are many different types of websites. There is a plain vanilla blog. There is the e-commerce. And when we talk about e-commerce websites, what differentiates them is you need to have a payment gateway. You need to have a shopping cart. So where people, once they purchase your product, they can add the product to a shopping cart, just like in a supermarket, when you go in and you go to the thing. And then in the supermarket, after that, the next process is you go to the checkout, and that's your payment gateway. That's your checkout. So that's what really differentiates the e-commerce side of things, where you can actually add products to sell. Blogs are more like where you're writing regularly and keeping people informed. And as a website, you will probably have, even if you're an e-commerce site, you will probably want to have a blog, because it's very, very essential to keep updating your customers and trying to attract new people by regularly posting information. The static websites, back in the day were developed in HTML. Really speaking, today, it's all dynamic sites. You want to have interactiveness. You want to have JavaScript, etc. And a CMS is basically just a content management system. And what that means is your website is created in such a way that after, let's say, your web developer creates the website for you, the next step is, instead of you having to go back to the developer each and every time to update the site, you actually have a CMS in place where it's just like you're typing in, say, a Word document or in PowerPoint or something. You can very easily edit the website for yourself. So if you want to make a change in the price of a product, or you want to make an edit in your blog, it's very simple. It's like what you see is what you get type of WYSIWYG editor. And in terms of design, you can have a custom designed website, in which case you need to pay a designer to design it, and then a developer to sort of customize it for your liking. Or if you want to really save big time on money, you can take a templated design, and there are lots of templates out there, and that really reduces costs significantly. WordPress is the #1 CMS website out there, website software out there. I highly recommend it. The statistics are approximately 40% of the web uses WordPress, right from hobby blogs to the biggest of the sites. And as you can see here, here's just a selection of sites that I've put out there that are using WordPress. So you can see that you've got Sony Music, you've got Rolling Stone magazines, you've got President Obama who's using it, you've got Angry Birds, you've got athletes, singers, everyone using WordPress. So it's really great, right from an individual to a small business to a really, really big business. WordPress is the way to go. And why is it so powerful? Because on top of the WordPress ecosystem, you have all these plugins. So these are individual developers who are going and creating customized items, plugins that can be added onto your website, which really massively amplifies the functionality of your website. So these plugins, like, you want to have a contact form on your website, you want to be able to contact people, you want to make your website have SEO related plugins, so you can type in stuff and make your SEO easy. You want to look at analytics. Even now, your e-commerce site that we talked about earlier, you could create a website in WordPress, and then there's an e-commerce plugin called WooCommerce, which is very, very famous, and it's very popular, very widely used. So you can use that to create an e-commerce website. So highly recommend WordPress. And the best thing is you'll find loads of people who will help you set it up, so developers, etc. The next thing to do once you've got all that sorted is to make sure you have website hosting. And this is important. Now, there are basically 3 different types of website hosting providers out there. And in terms of website hosting types of services, shared server. Yeah, and what's a server? Basically, a server is just a computer. So it's just like a computer, but it's connected 24/7 to the internet. Someone's managing that computer for you. And your website data sits on that server. That's what a server is. Now, that server could be a shared server. So imagine one computer where you've got not only your website, but hundreds of other websites also sharing that same data of the computer. So what happens over there is it can slow down your website, right? Because imagine if lots of people are coming to all these websites, that one computer has to work very much harder. So if it's a hobby type of website, fine, I would say go with a shared server. It doesn't cost much. You'll save a lot of money. But on the other hand, if your website is slightly more important to you, it's part of your business, you need to go into VPS, which is virtual servers, and there you are only sharing your server with a handful of other websites. And then the best solution is obviously a dedicated server, and a dedicated server is where only one website per server. And that's where you want to be if the internet business is important to you. If your website is your lifeline, eyes closed, dedicated server is the way to go. And it's like you pay rent for your shop or office space. It's the same way the hosting charge is you're paying rent for renting the server from a server hosting company. In terms of the website design itself, you do want to ensure that the customer user journey is taken care of. And here we mean to say that, hey, make sure your content is great. It should give enough information to people who are coming to your website. So your landing pages need to be well thought of. There needs to be a call to action. That is, what do you want people to do once they've come to your website? There should be a contact form where people can actually fill out their information and connect with you, or there should be at least a contact page where you're giving information on how people can connect with you, whether it's your phone line or your email ID, etc. And that's going to be fairly important if there is a two-way street that you want to enable. And then once someone fills out that contract form, they should always, once they click the submit button, they should get the thank you page and get a good message that, hey, yes, we've received your message and someone from our team will connect with you shortly, etc., etc. Social proof. Guys, this is very, very important. What is social proof? Social proof is things like a testimonial. Having user testimonials on your website are critical if you're really selling services or you're trying to take email information from customers, because they see that other people, what are they saying about your business. So those reviews, those testimonials are going to be very, very important. And a lot of people overlook things like about us and think, hey, that's not that great. But that is important, because people should know what who you are, who is the business, who are the people, who is the team behind that website, right? It gives them confidence. A privacy policy is also very important, because understanding that how your data will be used has become very, very important. So have those things in place as part of your website journey. Security, simple. If you look up your any URL bar, when you type in the address, you will either see HTTP or HTTPS. Now, HTTP has pretty much become default for most website businesses. And Google has now, in fact, started showing when you click on a website from Google, and if it is not secure, they will actually put a message that, hey, the site you're going to is not secure, and it's a warning, and that dissuades a lot of people. So if you're serious about your business, guys, you need to have HTTPS enabled, and that means getting a certificate from your domain provider, which makes your website secure. And that tells people that the data is safe and no one can hack into them. Moving into another aspect of your website, that's performance, and that's speed. Guys, speed is super important in today's day and age. The last thing you want is people who have clicked on your website drop off because it takes long to load. So, and that also sort of relates to your server. A dedicated server will be very, very quick to load, whereas a shared server will take time to load. And these are stats from Google itself, and they say that, hey, if your site takes about more than 10 seconds to load, the bounce rate increases by 123%. The bounce rate is someone who would have come to your website, but they decided it was taking too long to load, and they ejected out and they went back. So you want to make sure your website is very, very speedy. Just some trivia out there, and you can look this up on the internet also later. Massive, now we're talking massive sites, and these guys like Amazon says that a 1 second delay in their page load causes them $1.6 billion in lost sales per year. But you get the gist of it, that you want to have a speedy website. Mobile first websites, you'll actually be shocked that there are quite a few websites today that are still not responsive. That is, when someone opens them on the desktop, they are fine, but when that same website is opened on the mobile, it does not fit that mobile frame, and people have to really scroll around. So you do want to make sure that, look, people are in today's day and age using multiple screens. They might start their journey on the mobile and end on the desktop. So you want your website, and that's what's called a responsive website design. And you really want to sort of create mobile first websites, so where you actually thinking of the mobile experience first and the desktop experience second, just to because of the fact that there are more people who are starting their journey to your website through their mobile phones. A little bit now, moving into the actual, how do you drive traffic to your website once you've got all of that set up? Google marketing, guys. Google has, in fact, it's got a 90% plus market share in Australia today. And think about it, all of us, whether you want to buy a house, rent a car, rent a house, go to the movies, plan your holidays, and planning those holidays, I know it's COVID times, but still, it is going to come back. Search a job. All of us go to Google. We just go to Google and we do a search. And did you know that 94% of all consumers research products online before they make that buying decision? Another reason I love the Google medium is because it's an intent-based medium, right? People who have thought about it, that, hey, I'm looking to, say, for example, buy a car, they will jump on Google and they'll start doing their research. So at that point of time, if you have a website and your website is coming up organically, then you're already in the customer's awareness set, and I'll talk about this here. So your customer journey, in advertising, there's the famous principle, which is AIDA: attention, interest, desire, action, and that's your top of the funnel. That's when people are starting their research, and at that research phase, you want people to start identifying with your brand, your website. So that can happen in two ways on Google. One is through organic, where your website appears automatically on top because you have optimized it, and there is no money involved. The second way is where you actually pay money to Google and your ads appear, and I'll cover both of them in a little bit. So let's look at that. So in this case, as an example, this is a client I was working with. It's called B Metal B, and they sell steel fences, which are sort of like with nice designs, etc. on them. And as you can see, when someone on Google has typed in metal privacy screens or outdoor metal screen panels, right? Now, automatically on that first page of Google, the B Metal B website, which I've highlighted, is appearing. And as you can see, it's also there right there with, say, for example, a Walmart, which gives it a lot of credibility out there that it's sitting up there and it's appeared organically. So that's your organic. And people, if you think about it, had not started their journey thinking about, I want to make a purchase of a metal fence from B Metal B. In fact, B Metal B is a very small player, small business, run out of Australia, and they're actually targeting the US market, which is why this screenshot is from google.com in the United States. And even though it's an Australian business, so they've got bmetalb.com as their domain. In fact, when we started working with them, they used to have .com.au, and we helped them to transfer to the .com domain. And by doing so, and coming in on Google searches, they have now someone who was looking at purchasing a metal screen and not from B Metal B will now go to their website and click and find out more information. So that's very, very important. A trivia point, which is fairly important as well, is that the position one, so hey, getting to that first page of Google is very, very important. But then even within that first page of Google, if you can get right to the top, you will get 17 times more traffic than if you were at the bottom of that first page of Google. That's fairly important, guys. Now, so what can you do from an SEO perspective to increase the chances of your website appearing organically? Now, yes, there's lots and lots of things that you need to do, but just because this is an intro seminar, just to give you a basic idea of it, you want to make sure your keywords are there on your web page. You want to make sure you've got great content, which is not duplicated, so you don't copy and paste it from somewhere else. You want to make sure your site architecture is good. That is, you've got the parent-child relationship happening between your pages of the website, and I'll just show you a quick screenshot of it in the next slide. You want to make sure your website performance is good. So we talked a little bit about it, where we talked about the speed of your website, how fast it loads, etc., the user journey, keeping the customers on the site longer. And then also very, very important is what other websites or other people are talking about your website in the online sphere. So this is called off-page SEO or third-party links. So some people call it backlinks. So getting other websites to talk about you or link back to you even greater, even better. Think about it where you're an island, and as many bridges you can build with other islands, you will increase the economy, because more people will come back and forth between these islands. And that's exactly what you want to do on your website. You want to create, if your website is the island, you want to create those bridges with various social media, Twitter, etc., LinkedIn, YouTube, as many of those bridges as you want. So site architecture is what I just mentioned to you just a bit earlier. So having a nicely laid out website, you've got the home page, and then below it, you've got things like about us, contact us, product pages, and then if you can get detailed product information, so product listing pages, all that kind of stuff, blogs, all of that. So have a nice architecture so that Google understands your website well and users understand your website very well. Images, guys, this is one thing that can cause a lot of stress, because what happens is you will maybe love having a nice image, and sometimes people will upload those nice images straight from their camera, and that, as we know today, the cameras really take very high pixel photographs, and these are very heavy file sizes. So one of the clients we were working is called Premier Maldives. They were a destination for Maldives, and they had these beautiful looking pictures. But guess what? This picture, which was there, I think on their homepage, was a 4 MB picture. That's the 4 megabytes is the size of that picture. So that was causing havoc with their load time. So even though it looked pretty and beautiful and draws people in, but you really want to optimize that pictures, because if you don't optimize those images, they are just going to kill your load times, and you're going to have people drop off, and Google does not like that either, and you will not get ranked well on Google either. Now, talking a little bit about advertising. So Google Ads. Now, I've just created the screenshot where I've shown what Google Ads are. So this is on the google.com.au, and I typed in as a user search query, say, buy shoes online. And I've marked out, now Google, as you can see, marks out ads with the word ad next to the website domain. And I've highlighted this by putting a red outline across that. And as you can see on your screen, the first two results are ads. And on the right side, so these are that's the Google Search Network text ads, and on the right side are Google Shopping Network ads. So you can see more ads on there. And then just below the ads on the left side of the screen, which is shoewarehouse.com or the iconic.com, etc. Those are organic search results. So the difference is, if I clicked on, for example, the first link out there, which is asos.com, that's an ad. So as soon as I click on that, it will cost that website, and I would imagine with a term like buy shoes online, which is someone's really wanting to make a purchase, it could cost them $3 or $4. And there are certain terms which will even cost $5, $6, $7, $8 per click. That's for every single click, right? So good thing is you don't pay money if someone does not click on that ad, right? But if someone clicks on that ad, it costs them whatever, $3, $4, $5, $6 per click. Now, on the other hand, shoewarehouse.com.au has done a fantastic job, because their website has come organically on top, which means if, as a user, you click on Shoe Warehouse, it costs them no money at all. So if through the day, for example, 100 people clicked on the ASOS website, and imagine it costs $5 a click, then it costs $500 to drive 100 potential customers to their website. And remember, out of those 100 potential customers, only a few of them, maybe 2, 3, or 4, might end up making a purchase, depending on what your conversion rate is. So it's just cost them $500 to drive 100 visitors to their website in this imaginary scenario. On the other hand, shoewarehouse.com.au, which has come up organically in Google search, if those same 100 people clicked on their website, and it cost them no money at all, completely free. At the end of the month, if you think about it, that $500 a day over a 30-day period means $15,000 a month in advertising cost, or about $180,000 a year for ASOS, versus for Shoe Warehouse, that it's free. So $180,000 versus free. So that's the power of SEO. But you want to do both. You want to do Google Ads and you want to do SEO, because you will be able to get more traffic from there. Also, SEO takes a long time, folks, before it starts delivering results. So you have to be patient about it. Google Ads, on the other hand, it's instant. You can start advertising today, and you will drive customers to your website today itself. On the other hand, in SEO, you start working on an SEO strategy today, and given how competitive various segments are, like shoes, you could, if you've just started today, it could be a few years before you actually start getting to the top. So that's where you would adopt a different type of strategy, where you'll try to do more long tail type of searches. So as an example, I might try to rank for black running shoes size 10, just as an example over here. Moving on, Google, what I just showed you earlier, this was the search network. You also have the Google Display Network. Now, the Google Display Network is really massive, and it reaches about 90% of all internet users across millions and millions of websites. So what happens is your ad appears on third-party websites, not Google. So things like, it could be the Sydney Morning Herald, it could be news.com.au, it could be a blogging website, specialist niche website. It could be on YouTube. It could be when people are checking their Gmail, or even during within apps. Your ad could appear within apps. So now in this particular example, I've taken Sydney Morning Herald. This is a story about the launch of the iPhone 12. And as you can see, there are two ads that are appearing, and I've highlighted them with a red box. There's one for Tiffany, and there's one for a Mercedes-Benz. So there's a car ad and there's a jewelry ad. Now, so you can use the Google Display Network to even reach people when they're not directly searching for your product, but they're, maybe you think that, hey, when they're reading about a particular type of article, that's when your ad will appear. Or you might be doing it because you want to get people to become aware of your brand. So the Google Search Network and the Google Display Network have got two sort of different outcomes. The Google Search Network, which you're seeing on screen now, is more when you want people to, it's a ROI, performance-based, people are searching, and that's exactly when your ad appears. Google Display Network, on the other hand, is more for increasing brand awareness, or if you've already saturated the search network and you've got budget to spare, you want to add it to the display network and get people when they are maybe looking for a related product or service or related articles, etc. Then we want to talk a little bit about Google remarketing. Now, this is a really clever way of connecting to visitors. Now, the way this works is someone has already been to your website earlier, and at that point, you've got cookies that get launched onto your computer, etc., onto your browser. And using those cookies, Google is able to identify that, okay, this person went to, say, a website about cars, as an example. And so when I was, say, on Sydney Morning Herald, they decided to show me an ad from a particular website I visited. So that's called remarketing. So they put, or let's say I've been to a restaurant website, right? Now, when I might be, and as an advertiser, I could make it so powerful that I can say, okay, my ads will only appear, let's say if I'm a restaurant website, so, and I want my ads to appear between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., which would be the time when people are thinking about lunch. And I want my ads to appear between, say, 5:30 p.m. and 8 p.m., which is the time when people have dinner. So my ads will only appear at that point of time and they could either be on the search network that we talked about or the display network. You could target people who have already been to your website, and your ads appear only at that particular point of time. So they've got fantastic filters. Also, the other thing you can do is you can filter that, hey, if let's say you're a local business and your and your storefront is in a particular area, you could have your ad not only appear, so as a restaurant, I might not only just have my ad appear at a particular point of time, but I can also add another filter on top, which is the radius. So if I want my ad to appear only within, say, 3 kilometers of my shop front, I can do that. So if my retail store is, for example, in Chatswood, your ad will appear only in that Chatswood area at a particular point of time. So you've got some fantastic filters that make sure your ads are very, very laser targeted. And guys, always make sure you measure the performance of all your ads, etc. Because if you don't do that, you'll end up spending a lot of money on advertising, but you want to make it meaningful. So sure, in the beginning, it might not give you the best returns, but as you start tweaking those ads, do A/B testing of your ads, stuff like that, you will, so you need to keep a close eye on analytics. So I do have another webinar coming up next week on the 21st, where I do a more deeper dive on the Google search network, both SEO and Google Ads. So we'll talk about it a little bit more deeper over there. I'm now quickly going to jump into the power of video. So YouTube, Facebook, these are all networks which can be used very effectively for videos. They have a viral value. People tend to share great videos. And you want to make them, well, depending on the type of video, you want to make them short and sweet. And the first few seconds of the video is critical, because that's when the user decides whether they want to keep watching the video or they don't want to watch the video, right? Also, another thing to think about is a lot of people are watching these videos on mobile. So you want to make sure your video is created in the best format for the mobile phone, as an example, right? Another thing to think about is people might not want to have the volume turned on by default, right? So you want to have your videos created in a way that even when they're played mute, they're fine. So you'll want to add subtitles, right? Guys, you do want to experiment, because a lot of videos will fail. But unless you experiment, you will not know what works. You want to be agile. You want to think about newsjacking. Something's happened. It can relate to your product in the news. Boom, use that to create a video. Do remember, the YouTube network is the second largest search engine in the world. People go there and do their searches. So it's got 3.4 billion unique users coming through. The other reason I really think that someone should create a video and add it to YouTube is because if you think about it, who owns YouTube? Google owns YouTube, which means that when people do a search on Google, today, not only do they get those normal search network organic results, but they also get YouTube videos inserted over there. So you have got two benefits. If you create a video and upload it to YouTube, you will also appear on the Google search network when people are searching for stuff related to you. I've got a very short, I'm not going to play out, this is a big 2-minute video, but I'm only going to play a few seconds of it. And what I want to show you is that if you see this, and it's designed, they have designed this video to be played when it's muted. So this is a travel brand that has created a video on cool travel hacks. And as you can see, as the video is playing out, it is got subtitles on it. It doesn't have to have very high production value. The video was created on a very, very low budget. So guys, don't procrastinate. Don't think, hey, I have to hire a video production house to create videos. Today, everyone has a mobile phone in their hand. You can actually create a video very, very quickly. And in this particular video, as you can see, it's got over 1 million views on it. So, please do look into using the power of videos. Now, here is another success story from videos. And this guy, Blendtec, maybe some of you have heard about him before. He started using the video strategy back in 2006. And his series is called Will It Blend? And what he did is, boring product, it's just a blender. Like, at least for me, it's a boring product. It's not something as fancy as an iPhone or something. And he started blending various items, unusual items, to show the power of his blender. So he actually took, for example, the iPhone. He purchased a brand new iPhone and he would put it into the blender and show the blender working, show slow motion of it. And people really got attracted. So he did that with iPhones, with Samsung mobiles. He did it with even products like Amazon Echo. And he started doing this back in 2006. And he's got about 1 million subscribers to his channel. And his videos have had over 300 million views, right? And why is that? So the reasons of success are, it's a decent product, right? But it's a great product because it's a very, very powerful blender. And he's shown this through the shock value of his campaigns, where he's taken stuff like iPhones, etc., and blended them in. Out of box thinking, right? Video marketing. Now, I did have a video, but I'm not going to play it because we're running out of time. But just go to YouTube and type in "will it blend," and you should be able to get there. I'm going to talk a little bit about email marketing. So, guys, it's virtually free. So you need to start collecting data from your customers, get their email IDs. And then the best thing is you can connect with these people for free. It's super fast. You send an email now, you can have someone on the other side of the world and they'll get it instantly. You can use it for things like customer communication, newsletters, you can conduct surveys, you can send coupons to drive sales, you can engage your audience by creating very, very customized emails. So, you can segment your databases and send people who might be, say, if you're able to segment your data and say, okay, these ones are above 50 and these guys are below 25, you could have different types of creatives to attract those kind of audiences. You can grow your business by doing cross-selling and upselling. So if you know, hey, this particular person owns X product of mine and now you want to sell Y, you can target that over there. And again, importantly, you can use analytics, etc., to understand the performance of your email marketing campaign. Now, what I've done over here is I've shown you an example. So what I want to show is the power of the subject line. I think in emails, this probably is the #1 most important thing. The reason I say that is because unless you get someone to open the email, you're not even going to get to the creative. And today, everyone's email boxes are cluttered with, I don't know, hundreds of emails that people get on a daily basis, from years and years of putting your email IDs out there. Now, I've put over here some examples from Domino's. And as you can see, they've got all these various subject lines. The first one, who wants a free pizza, right? Another one, 50% off large pizzas. A third one on Sunday, Sunday special, right? Playing on words, so 2 days Tuesday, right? Ditch the dishes, sorry. So, and then in the school holidays, it's school's out, let's bring the dinner, right? So they're using all these different subject lines and they're seeing which ones work. The other thing you notice is they're using emojis. Guys, use emojis, because when you have got all these emails coming into you, most of them will be plain text, right? So this one email which has got those emojis with some color will instantly catch your attention. So I think using emojis is a very, very powerful strategy. Use funny subject lines, wacky subject lines. So as an example, you could have a subject line saying the person's name, so personalize. Steve, where are you? Or a very provocative one, how I grew my blog from 0 to 1 million readers in a month. Or were we boring you? So the power of that subject line is going to be very, very important. Other part is the power of design. So once the person has actually clicked on that email, you want to have a great creative in your email. So again, these are examples from Domino's. I've just picked up 3 of their recent ones, and you can see they've got different creatives sitting there, and they even have videos which play within the email. So you really want to look at that. Email marketing tools, again, without the use of software, it's going to be very hard for you to run good email marketing campaigns, right? Now, luckily, there are many, many email marketing software out there. MailChimp is a really, really good one. I highly recommend them. Constant Contact is another great one. I've used both of these services, and I highly recommend both of them. HubSpot is another one. So you can use these softwares to create great, beautifully designed templates which are already there. So you don't have to spend a ton of money designing those emails. You can then schedule these emails to be sent at the right time to your audience, right? And also the other thing is they have got, to make sure your emails don't end up in the spam box of your audience. You want to use a good email service provider, and MailChimp, Constant Contact are really good ones to look at, so that people don't get it into their inboxes, spam inboxes. Influencer marketing. Again, it's a culture that's really, it's a new buzzword. It's just come up in the last few years. And one of the reasons for its exponential growth is social media and YouTube. Why is it so important? Because it drives word of mouth recommendations via people that your customers trust. It gives scale to your campaigns as the content is created by these influencers, right? So imagine if you can get, say 100 micro influencers who don't charge much money to sort of talk about your product or even do it for free. They are the ones who are creating that content. So you can increase your audience reach by riding on the back of the followers of these influencers. And beauty, travel, lifestyles are great products for marketing pushes. One thing you do want to take care of is, if these are sponsored posts, you do want to let your audience know about that. Here's a success story. Now, Happy Skin Co. used an influencer strategy. Now, Dylan Mullen, who's the founder of Happy Skin Co., he didn't think it could be so big, right? And it would happen so quickly. So he started with an initial investment of $20,000, and his product is a laser hair removal DIY type of thing, which you can do at home itself. So versus people who are going into beauty parlors, etc., to get, or laser hair removal clinics, and pay, I don't know, about $100 each time they went in. He created this product, wherever he sourced the technology from, but it's a handheld type of laser hair removal product. And he used the influencer strategy. So think about it, revenue day one, he made one sale. On the second day, he made no sales. But on the third day, some influencer posted about him, and he made $5,000 in sales. So and 1 year later, he's doing over $12 million worth of revenue. So the reasons for his success, obviously, you have to have a great product. He's used influencer marketing in his case really, really well. He's identified his target market, say 18 to 24-year-olds, and he's used social media to dominate that budget, marketing budget. Very quickly, a little bit about social media. There is a whole heap of channels. The reason I left it for last is because, Facebook and all, everyone's using them. I didn't think the others were being used as effectively, but Facebook, 16 million users, YouTube, 15 million, Instagram, 9 million, LinkedIn, 5.5. And these are Australian statistics, guys, right? And you are able to build your communities on Facebook. Now, Facebook also, you can use both organic social media as well as you can use advertising. So just like the Google search network, you can use advertising and run campaigns. You can run campaigns globally, so you can generate sales, leads, etc. You can use, and different networks are used for different things. So LinkedIn, for example, is great for a B2B type of network. It's great for recruiting staff. Then social media can, because it's so transparent, you can use it for market research, for competitor research, etc. You can even broadcast live events through things like Facebook Live, Twitter Live, etc. And it's great for customer service, so virtually free. And you can join various groups, so niche groups on different networks to get there. Social media tools, we've got tools like, and again, just like in earlier, you need to use tools in order to be able to effectively use the social media platforms. please be selective. There's so many different platforms out there that you want to make sure you don't spread yourself too thin. So if you believe that, hey, LinkedIn is the right platform for you, then use LinkedIn. Don't try to say, hey, I'll be present on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and everywhere. It's just going to be very hard to manage. And then use tools like Hootsuite is a great tool for managing your posts, etc. Canva, if you want to create those social media posts, nice creatives, you can use tools like Canva, Snap, etc. And if I'm right, Canva is actually a local Australian tool that has been developed. Shoot me if I'm wrong. And the other thing to remember is on social media, people expect to get an instant response. Guys, I think we have run out of time. I won't have more time to cover. I had some other great stories to cover, but we'll leave it at that. If you do want a free 15-minute consultation, please do get in touch with me. It's limited to the first 10 people and subject to my availability. You can connect with me through my email ID, which is slal@bruceclay.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. And I really hope you enjoy